Hello there guys, hope you're all doing well. Welcome to my rational perspective on Chelsea 2, Liverpool 0 in the FA Cup. Unpredictable Chelsea strike again. Definitely in terms of defensively, this is probably Chelsea's best performance, or one of Chelsea's best defensive performances of the season for sure. I think it's one of those things when you're going into games with Chelsea at the moment, and I pretty much stated this before the game, that even if Chelsea played well, you're not sure what you're going to get going forward. And I still stand by that until we see a run of performances that are really good and assured by Chelsea. That will still remain. But just focusing on last night's game, which really was positive. I have to say I was very surprised with the result when I saw the teams. I think that was a big thing going into the game. Not only Lampard's approach, but Jurgen Klopp's approach. How seriously was he going to take this game? And pretty seriously. That was very close to a first team for Liverpool. Sadio Mane, Van Dijk, Andy Robertson, Gomez at the back as well, Fabinho in midfield. So many players, and of course Firmino came on later with Mo Salah. All of those players, I mean, those are regulars, and it looked to me like Klopp wanted to go out and prove a point and get back to winning ways. And I think that shows with Chelsea's team, because in a lot of ways, Frank made changes that I didn't expect him to make. He played players who have been first teamers recently and took some of them out, and most notably starting Billy Gilmour. And we're going to come on to Billy Gilmour because this was his night. This was a Billy Gilmour masterclass. This was when Billy Gilmour arrived, and you know, so many of us know the quality he has, and he's impressed us, but doing it against a team like Liverpool on a night like this where Chelsea needed a big performance from him really was so impressive. I think just the nature of the performance for me, you know, we outpressed Liverpool in so many ways. You know, we all talk about what the formation's going to be for Lampard and what the style of football. We all knew Lampard wants to play a pressing style of football, and to outpress Liverpool is a big achievement in itself. I thought the way Chelsea handled the game as it progressed, I think, was really encouraging. It was very much a consistent 90-minute performance, which you haven't seen from Chelsea a lot. You are going to concede chances, especially when you against a team like Liverpool, and also when you've got the players like Sadio Mane on the pitch. But I think the fact that Chelsea grew in the game, and the fact that after the 31st minute, Liverpool didn't have a shot on target, tells you something, and is a marked improvement from a team like Chelsea. I think that the way we went direct to Olivier Giroud, played on Giroud's strengths, the amount of balls that were kicked to Kepa, long from a goal kick, we didn't go short a lot, and that was something we were trying to do earlier in the game, got punished for it and nearly cost us a goal early on. But we learned from that, we adapted, and we started to play to Giroud's strengths, and once he got those knockdowns, once we started to win the ball further up the pitch, we were able to press Liverpool and start to create chances of our own. But let's talk about Billy Gilmour, because he is man of the match. Class, his persistence, his aggressiveness, his elegance, that calm demeanour. We've seen it, you know, we saw it in the last round of the FA Cup when he came on against Hull, and that was such a different night. You know, I was there that night, and Chelsea looked frantic. We looked uncertain, as we do so often this season. But he came on and gave something Chelsea were lacking, just that sort of calm head on the ball and assuredness on the ball, which I think that he did once again last night, and especially doing it on such a big stage, I think proves what a player he can be moving forward for Chelsea. And we know this season there's chances for all players, and I think this could be a major moment for Billy Gilmour. He's been promoted to the first team recently. Frank clearly trusts him. He trusts him enough to start him in a big game like this. And he was man of the match by far. You know, he was nutmegging Fabinho. He was starting Chelsea attacks. He was going in strongly for challenges. He was winning those challenges. He was keeping up with Sadio Mane. He was tracking back when Chelsea needed it. I think he was everything you want him to be. And I think that he is a player that we know the quality of it, and is the sort of player you want to see at Chelsea moving forward. A modern style of player who has got that aggressive nature to him, can be good in the tackle, but most importantly is so calm and cool and, you know, classy on the ball, which you need in a modern game. And I think that Gilmour was absolutely brilliant, and I think we're going to see much more of him. Maybe on Sunday against Everton, we're going to have to wait and see, but I think that everything he done supplemented and really benefited Chelsea, and was doing everything Chelsea needed. We needed an energetic performance in that midfield. We needed to combat Liverpool's energy, which a lot of teams struggle to do. I could spend a whole video praising Billy Gilmour, and I'm sure in the future we'll be praising him much more. But this was a big night for him, fully deserved man of the match. Secondly was Ross Barkley. This was one of those performances once again from Ross, and he's, you know, in terms of his hit rate for Chelsea, he's had a few good performances quite close together. I think that for him it was a big night because that second goal, the way he drove forward, it's the sort of goal that I think so many of us, you know, watching Ross when he was at Everton, driving through from his half to the opposition half, and his strike was absolutely brilliant, gave Adrian no chance. And I thought that he was another player like Gilmour that added energy to that midfield, and especially once Willian and Kovacic went off, especially Willian, and there was a fear we may lack width, he added more energy and added that pace on the counter. Of course, Ross, you know, he always is indifferent in games. He always is erratic. Sometimes he has too long to think about things and he makes the wrong pass. We know that with Ross Barkley, but considering he scored a major goal in a big game for Chelsea, I'm so happy for him. Of course, Willian scored the first goal as well. He went off injured. It was quite weird, you know. Willian had that chance. He should have scored, even though it was a brilliant reaction save from Adrian. From the position it was, he has to score that. But we got lucky, and that pressing game once again against Liverpool, which we haven't seen a lot from Chelsea recently. That pressing created that goal. It was and as well, it was good from Willian to get the shot off quickly. That's something we don't see a lot from Chelsea players, getting that shot off early, and Adrian couldn't save it. It was a mistake by Adrian, but it's getting that shot away, which we don't see enough of from Chelsea players, and that's how we got the first goal. Unfortunate Willian went off, as well as Kovacic going off. Fears about both of them. You know, the injury list just goes on and on. I might have to bring my own pair of boots for Sunday's game against Everton, because let's just pray and hope that those injuries aren't long term. There are replacements for them, but especially with Pulisic and HUDSON-ODOI still out, there's concern in many areas. So just no luck, and you have to sort of ask questions about coaching and the medical staff of why these injuries keep on happening, because it can't just be bad luck over a period of time. But that was really the only negative of the game. The next big player I have to speak about, and it made me so happy seeing his performance, which was Kepa in goal. It was brilliant seeing him back, and he took his chance with both hands, pretty literally, with that triple save. You know, I saw some people saying, you know, they were straight at him, but you know, for a player who has been taken out of the firing line, who's had to sit on the bench and watch, and has been criticised and lambasted and written off by a lot of people, this was a big performance personally for Kepa. Not only for, you know, his, you know, getting a clean sheet, which is massive, but also the big saves he made. I think that it will do him the world of good, especially against a team like Liverpool. You know, it's not just you know, a smaller game. It's a game that I'm sure a lot of people would have been watching, and to make those big saves for his team when he needed to, I think will hopefully be a sign of what's to come from Kepa, because I think he should be back in the first team now, absolutely. And it's not just on that, you know, I said this before the game, I wanted him back for Bournemouth, I wanted him back for last night's game. I think that overall Kepa is our best keeper, and I hope that what's going to happen now is what happened last season when Sarri, the whole Sarri incident happened. If you remember last season, Kepa really ended the season strong, and I really hope the same thing can happen once again. And I hope people start to back Kepa a bit and see what he's done before, because he has made some big saves. I know the stats are worrying for a keeper of his level, and I'm not going to sit here and tell you that Kepa's had an amazing season. He has had an average season. He has made mistakes, but as I've demonstrated, and I think I've argued before, this Chelsea side, you know, gives up a lot of chances to opposition, and like last night, when we're actually more defensively resilient and don't give enough chances, there is a chance for keepers to have great nights, because they can make big saves. I also thought, you know, Rudy and Zuma, they had a shaky start. They were giving the ball away very easily, and that was a concern to me. One team you don't want to give the ball away out of any team is Liverpool, and both Rudy and Zuma were giving passes away early on, but they learnt from that, and they really just bossed whoever was in front of them in that area, and really dealt with, you know, the physicality, grew in the game together. And it's going to be interesting to see for me. I've said it before, I think Lampard needs to nail down a defence, especially a back two, or whether it's a back three. I think that could potentially be it. Whether it is or not, you know, we're going to have to see that for a number of games. I personally, even though, you know, I'd like to see maybe Tomori come back, I would like to see Zuma and Rudiger get another game, because keep on chopping and changing back there. We've seen the effects of it before. I think Lampard needs to nail it down, and maybe that can be the back two, because I think they played well. I also thought, you know, Alonso and Dave, either side of those defenders, I thought were experience tells. I think probably Lampard knew. I was a bit shocked that James didn't start, but I think probably Lampard knew Chelsea were going to have to dig in a bit more than they have in a lot of games, especially against a team like Liverpool. And he probably just thought, you know, you got the experience, you're going to sit a little bit deeper at times. And both Alonso and Dave, I thought, done really well. I know there were a lot of comments in my team selector when I picked Alonso in a back four, people going, he can't play in a back four. Well, last night he done really well in that position. Long term, of course, there are concerns there of Alonso, more in an attacking sense, but I think defensively he done his job well. He got there, and we know what Dave can do. Just workhorses of Giroud and Pedro. Giroud probably having one of his best performances. Unlucky not to score right at the end there. Just hold up play, and we really, him and, you know, Kepa's long balls up to him really helped. And I think using Giroud's game to the best of his ability really helped Chelsea get out of difficult situations and really help us start attacks again. And I thought Pedro run his socks off. The last bit of pace he has in his legs were there last night. A bit unfortunate to not score that goal right at the end when he went one-on-one with Adrian to make it 3-0. But I think as well, he really worked hard once Willian went off, added that extra width when was needed. I thought Mount as well done well when he came on. You know, it's interesting to me moving forward once again, because we move on to Everton, and what sort of team is Lampard going to put out? How is he going to, you know, structure that team? And I really hope that the bulk of this team starts again, because I think we do need consistency for the players. I think it helps. I think, you know, if we think about our 6-game winning run earlier in the season, that team became very predictable over that short period. And maybe this can be a similar thing. I know there'll be arguments about bringing Reece James back into the side. I mean, maybe there's a thing where he played Dave because he knew it was going to be a more defensive game where Chelsea weren't, you know, we're going to have to dig in a bit more. And maybe when you're going to be more attacking against a team like Everton, who aren't going to press you as much as Liverpool and don't have, of course, have the talent and the danger that Liverpool do, you can bring in a player like James to help the attack. But at the same time, I think constantly changing and switching, I think keeping that consistency can hopefully help sort of the assured nature and the chemistry between all of those players. So I think that's going to be interesting, and once again it becomes a bit unpredictable, but hopefully if the results and performances improve, it can become more predictable, which of course is easier to watch, and hopefully that will help the players in a crucial period of the season. As I said, you know, the injuries, let's just hope it isn't as bad, and let's hope with Ruben getting 90 minutes in his leg for the development squad the other night, HUDSON-ODOI could be back on Sunday, which would be a big positive, especially in those areas where we need pace. And I think overall it's a big win for Frank once again. You know, he's beaten Jose twice. He's gone to Arsenal away this year, and he's beaten Liverpool. I think the way that game worked out is probably the way Frank foresees Chelsea playing in a couple of years, you know, with better players. This is what Frank wants to do with Chelsea. And for all the uncertainty and chaos of Saturday, it was great to see a better, more cohesive, more complete performance against a team like Liverpool on a big night where Stamford Bridge was rocking. So I think that brilliant. We need to move on. We need to replicate this, which is the massive question now against Everton. We've seen it so many times this season, like Tottenham recently, where we played really well. I know we had that buying game, but then in Bournemouth, we couldn't replicate it. It's going to be key. Can we replicate it in the Premier League where we need to get into the Champions League? And can we win the FA Cup? That's going to be the big thing. Of course, I'm recording this before the draw. So just our luck, we'll probably get like Arsenal away or something. But it's our best chance of silverware, and that would be amazing if we could go all the way in this competition, what it would do for a young squad and so many of those young players, and for Frank Lampard and the memories that would be created from it. But that is my rational perspective on the game. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch this video. If you did enjoy it, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell to never miss an upload. Follow me on Twitter @SonOfChelsea, and I'll see you again.